So following on from the best episode in the season so far, which was episode 3, that means one thing. The trailer for episode 4 has just been released, and it's safe to say that it looks like it's going to be just as interesting of an episode as what we just saw. With there being a week to wait until the episode releases, I thought I'd break down the trailer and give my theories and predictions on what I think will happen next. So let's get into it. Here is Masters of the Air episode 4 trailer explained. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. The trailer for the next episode opened up with dialogue, which was, "She's your guide and you'll do what she says." This was intercut with some clips from Quinn still in Flanders, Belgium, following him leaving Babyface inside of the plane and managing to escape moments before it exploded mid-air. Quinn ended up shooting down into Flanders, where he found a family to seek haven with for a short time. We saw in the previous episode that he was given the option to either surrender and be taken in as a prisoner of war, or he could choose the option to try and sneak his way back to England with assistance, but it would mean that he'd have to go through occupied territories in order to get there. At the time, I thought that Quinn was going to choose the option of becoming a prisoner of war, because he'd want to just have a higher chance of surviving. But judging by what was shown to us in this opening section of the trailer, it seems like he's going to choose to make his way back to England, a mission that will come with great risk and would likely result in him being killed if he were to be found out. As the dialogue was being spoken, we saw a shot of Quinn walking with 2 others through a field, including Chuck, somebody who was on his plane and had to evacuate as well. And judging by the shot that followed, it seems like this will be them walking to the house where he's going to be introduced to the guide. Outside of the window, it looked like it was filled with the greenery that we saw on the field when they were walking. And in the first shot, there was also a house at the top of the hill, so I'm thinking that it's most probably that. After this, there was then a shot of Austin Butler's character, Buck, sitting by his plane, still in Africa, looking like he's doing his best to just try and enjoy the small bit of downtime that he's got whilst soaking in the sun. This was met with a piece of dialogue which was spoken by Jack, which said, "Get your things, boys, we're going home." It's hard to tell how long Buck and the boys have been away for, but judging by the next shot, it seems like it's going to have been long enough for more men to have been recruited into the 100th Bomb Squad. Bucky said the line, "All these are, new faces." I think this is going to be a moment that will be quite powerful in the episode. Why are there going to be new faces? Because many of the old faces are no longer around. So it already feels like a line that's painting the harsh reality of war, and the fact that many men lost their lives whilst fighting as part of the squad. I feel we'll also see in this episode that the others will find out that Kurt died on the last mission, which will be a moment that I think will be hard-hitting, especially for Buck and Bucky. These new faces consist of individuals such as Major Robert Rosenthal, somebody who introduced himself to Major Egan and Major Cleven in the trailer. He seemed pretty fresh-faced when compared to everybody else that was there, and not like there was a sense of naivety, but a sense of not truly knowing what was lying ahead of him. Just like how Buck and Bucky were when they went out on their first mission. Robert said the line, "It feels like we're actually gonna do something," to which Bucky responded by saying, "Yeah, you'll do something alright," showing that the danger and difficulty of the missions ahead are not going to be slowing down. There was a line that was spoken by another new member of the team where they said, "I think you're going to be the last pretty face I ever see." This was as he was getting some supplies from the American Red Cross van. We may see this character die whilst in battle, which will again reinforce the danger that these people went through when they were going off to war. After this, there was then a line that was spoken which was a toast at dinner which read, "To the fellas who aren't here tonight who should have been." This was then followed by a close-up of Buck. I think this was done because at the end of the previous episode there were seeds of doubt which were sown inside of his head, and Bucky needed to reassure him that they were going to get through it. This was a mission that we saw Buck go out on, and it was far more deadly than the first. The shot that we had in the actual episode where we saw the sky from his perspective and it was just pure chaos, devastation and death all around him. It's an image that I think is still ingrained within his mind, and it will continue to be. So it's going to take the strength that he has within him to be able to move on and put it to the back of his mind in order to get out there again, and to not think that he's going to be somebody who will die whilst up there, otherwise his mindset will be gone. After this shot, we were back in Flanders with Quinn and the guides that he was with. There was a line which read, "Germans, they've tried many ways to infiltrate our network." This shows that the guide that Quinn is with must have experience with sneaking people across borders from before. There was a shot of him firing a weapon at something on the ground. Do I think they got into a situation where they killed somebody? Maybe? or they could be identifying the person that was on the floor, hence the line starting with German. The next section of the trailer was one with a more celebratory mood. There was a dance taking place in the canteen where they usually eat, most likely to get their spirits up and to take their mind off of everything that had been happening. There was a banner which said Happy 25th Mission, so I'm presuming that's what the celebrations are focused on. There were women there, and it seemed like Bucky was getting it on with the blonde girl, somebody who we know is not his partner from back home, and in true Buck style, he was dancing with the dog, knowing that the person that he cared about, Marge, was back home. There was a powerful shot which was of Bucky and this blonde woman inside of a room, and outside of the window it just looked like the city was in flames due to the bombings that were taking place during the night. After this, there was then a line which was spoken at the party by Bucky towards Buck, which was, if we go down, they won't remember us either, like we never existed. This could be getting mentioned because he may not feel the mood of the party is in taste with the fact that there have been many men that have been lost in battle. Almost like, how can one celebrate the 25th mission when many lives have been lost in the process? So I think there's going to be a sense of internal conflict that will be going on inside of his mind, and the fear of being forgotten if he were to die whilst up in the air, which could make him question if he wants to even do it. He may feel like a number, rather than an actual human being. The final part of the trailer was of Quinn on a train going through occupied France, more specifically Paris, with Chuck, somebody who he was up in the air with on the plane that went down. He asked Quinn the question, what happened to Babyface? Is he dead? To which Quinn looked back at him in horror, most likely feeling shame over leaving him, but knowing full well that he had no other choice, otherwise they both would have died whilst inside of the plane. During this conversation, the ticket inspector opened their carriage door with urgency, and it looked like he wanted to take a look at their papers. As this happened, there were German officers at the platform, so this is a moment where it's either going to be make or break for the both of them, and they'll either make it out of the country back to England or they won't. It was a tense way to finish the trailer, and it left it even more open for the next episode, making us wonder if they will actually survive or not. Episode 4 looks like it's going to have a lot more to it in terms of location and conversation, and it feels like for the first time it's going to provide a deeper look inside the mind of the characters, something that I'm really looking forward to seeing. So, there you have it, Masters of the Air Episode 4 Trailer Explained. If you want to see more videos on Masters of the Air, then click on the card in the top corner, or alternatively you can head over to my channel where you'll find them all. And finally, if you'd like to see what I rate the latest movies that don't quite make the cut to getting a dedicated video, then head over to my Letterboxd profile. It's where I rate the latest releases in real time. What do you think will happen next? Leave a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.